All right, I think I am live. Think I'm live. If anyone is there, let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to get started. So, book reading Billy, you asked, is Patrick Ryan your real name, or are you really called Ryan Patrick and hoping that this will keep me incognito? And Jordan also asked, what is my name? Which was not a question I was expecting. So my name is actually Patrick Ryan Sullivan Wood. My last name is hyphenated. And when I started my channel, I was we were engaged and we were having the conversation of whether she would change her last name or not. And Sullivan Wood has just been an annoying last name to have throughout my life. Um, Sometimes the hyphen gets included, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it gets dropped to just Sullivan, sometimes it gets cut to just Wood, and it's caused me nothing but complications throughout my life. So we were debating on changing both of our names and using Ryan as our last name. So when I started my channel, that was the conversation we were having, and I decided that I would try it out. Um, Ultimately, we didn't change our last name to Ryan. My last name is still Sullivan Wood. Her last name is Scheer, so she kept hers. And then some random questions from Jordan. Favorite drink? So for an alcoholic drink, I'm pretty boring. I just like a simple Jack and Coke. I'm drinking beer, Blue Moon. Nicole here, we found out likes the mojitos, which hopefully you guys can hear her as well. Um, Favorite food? So this is also from Jordan. I'm from the Chicagoland area, so I have to go with deep dish pizza. Um, Favorite Pokemon? That would be probably Jolteon, although Alakazam is one I would have to have on my team. Not familiar with any of the Pokemon after the original 150. He also asked favorite Digimon. I don't know any. I never got into that. Um, Thank you, Fred, for 500. I'm shocked that I've gone this far. Um, Thanks. Oh, and you get to see one of our cats, Zephyr. He's the neediest one of the bunch. Um, and then Jordan also asked if I like the comedic actor Robin Williams. And yes, I liked his movies. I liked his stand up, although I would not watch his stand up with my family. It was definitely not family friendly. And then he asked, which is heavier, 1 kilogram of feathers or 1 kilogram of steel? Now, on the off chance my physicist brother's watching, I'm going to nerd out on this and say kilogram is a measurement of mass, not weight. So it depends where they're located. Assuming they're both located on Earth and they have roughly the same gravitational pull, they would be the same. But if you take one and you move it to, let's say, the moon, the one that was still on Earth would weigh more. And then Jake asked me, he said he's always interested in knowing what type of music people like to listen. So, who are some of my favorite bands, favorite genres? Favorite genre is probably country, with Eric Church being my favorite. But as far as favorite bands and musicians, it's all over the place. Like Goo Goo Dolls, Matchbox 20, Rise Against, Dan Fogelberg, who um, I'm guessing no one has heard of. I think he's actually the reason I wanted to move to Colorado my whole life because he sings about Colorado in his songs. Um, Thank you, Alex. Let me get to some of Alex's questions. Which sci-fi fantasy animal companion would you most like to have as a pet? I think I have to go with Mouse from Dresden because he's smarter than, well, certainly Dresden. Um, and he can take care of himself, not to mention taking care of a person. We wouldn't have to worry about him and the cats not getting along. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Mouse. Thank you, Esme. Um, which sci-fi fantasy character do you find most relatable? Ooh, let's see. I've always kind of related to Hadrian Blackwater and Rhaenyra, just in the fact that he doesn't like what he's doing with his life and kind of feels like he should be doing something more noble. Um, I don't exactly feel like I should go slay the dragon, win the war, and get the girl, but I already got the girl, um, and some cats. Um, but I've never been satisfied with the job I have. I felt like I should be doing something different. Uh, and yes, this is my wife, Nicole. I'm not sure if you guys can actually hear her or not because of since she's a little bit farther away. Um, but yeah, that's Nicole. We've been married for about a year and a half. Um, I give you Hadrian vibes. That is awesome. Um, Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you stopping by. Let's get to more of these questions. What's a book that you love but wish had a better cover? And Alex, we were already talking about this earlier. Superpowers. Um, it, they're great books, but the covers are not the best. They like make sense based on what the book is about, but they're definitely not eye catching or making you want to pick them up. Let's see. Does Nicole approve of my time spent reading? She said yes.
Yes. I feel like it's important for him to have hobbies that I feel like it's important for him to have hobbies that make him happy. Because, they say happy wife, happy life. I think it's also true for husband, happy life. So it doesn't sound school though. So
Um, so can you guys let me know if you can hear her? And Alex wants to know if Nicole is a reader too. Yes, ish.
I used to read like a lot more when I was a kid because I had a lot of free time because I was homeschooled. And then as an adult, I kind of like fell out of the habit. So I recently like started back up reading a lot more. So yeah.
Actually, when we met, um, can Nicole convince my wife to say the same thing about my writing? When we met, one of the first things we talked about was books. one of her favorites is Aragon, and I was doing a reading contest type thing with one of my friends, where a whole bunch of different categories that you tried to read one book from each category, and there was a category that said a book with dragons in it. And at this time, I wasn't a big fantasy reader. I wasn't a fantasy reader at all. Eventually, I picked up Wheel of Time because one of my coworkers told me that they thought I would like it. And when I was looking it up, I heard about The Dragon Reborn and thought, great, this is going to meet that category. 3 books in, I finally came to the conclusion that the dragon in Wheel of Time is not an actual dragon. So then I was reading Aragon, and I think that's what I was reading when we met. So we spent some time talking about that series and some of the other books that we both liked. Let's see. Thanks, that's me. Come on. Zephyr says thanks too. Let's see, what else is there? Looking forward to Superpowered. It has just gotten better as the series has gone. Year 3's been my favorite book of the year so far, with Year 2 a close second. That would be your answer. Absolutely terrible covers. Even his other series, they're not all that much better. This is book 1 of the Villain's Code, so it's not horrendous, but still not one of my favorites. And Fred the Vampire Accountant is just accounting material on top of it. So again, makes sense for the series and for the books, but not going to grab your attention. And yes, she absolutely is. Honestly, I probably wouldn't still have my YouTube channel if it wasn't for Nicole convincing me to not quit when I was struggling being productive with anything. Can Nicole convince my wife to say the same thing about my writing? She can try. No promises.
I mean, I will say my husband's also extremely supportive of me. Not saying that you're not, but like it goes both ways. Like, so finding a happy medium. So no, the answer is no, I can't. But just finding a happy medium with what works for you, because he definitely has had to like make a schedule for himself so that he was not spending all this time on YouTube. So there are boundaries.
Let me try changing the mic setting.
Can you hear me?
Audio. Yeah. All right, can you still hear us? Hopefully you can. You might be a little bit quieter now. Let's see. Book of the year. Yep, definitely book of the year. And from what I hear, Superpowered's Year 4 is even better. So I'm starting that in probably a couple days. I just checked it out from the library, so that's going to be my next read. And I am so excited that you've liked the Fred books. I was really nervous for you to pick them up after I spent however many videos hyping up all of the Drew Hayes books. Perfect. All right. Let's see. Let me get back to some of these questions. What's a series that you'd like to have a prequel book for? I wouldn't mind hearing more of the, let's say, the origin stories of Stormlight Archive. Yeah, hear about the Knights Radiance and their whole story, and the Heralds actually giving up, and what life was like before that. All right. Let's see, Esme. Which sci-fi fantasy author would you want or trust to write a story about your life? I've already been talking about Drew Hayes a lot. I'm going to say Drew Hayes because he would turn me into a superhero, and I think that would be pretty cool.
What would you want your superpower to be?
What would I want my superpower to be?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I'd want him to create it because he comes up with some really interesting ones. Like there's one character in Superpowers who has complete mastery of his body. So like he doesn't need his heart to beat because he can circulate his blood on its own. He doesn't even need his blood to circulate because he can just direct everything to go where it needs to go.
Interesting.
Let's see. Stray. Can't go wrong with more Stormlight. Absolutely not. And yes, I would choose the chunkiest fantasy series to get more sequels. I also wouldn't mind a prequel to Dresden that followed McCoy. Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool, and how he became the Black Staff. Because he's the one wizard on the White Council that's allowed to break the rules of magic whenever he deems fit. So I think he would have lived a pretty interesting life. Let's see. So Esme has the assumption that I have zero ambitions myself to write a book. And that is mostly correct. So before book 2, you're absolutely right. Never wanted to write a book. But now I've been reading a lot more, and I'm specifically reading a lot more fantasy. And that's kind of got me kind of more interested in the idea of actually writing something myself, especially with all the self-published books I've been writing or reading. That kind of has almost like broken down the imaginary barrier I had of this would be impossible to do. So now I'd say I have like 5% ambition of writing.
She says
let's see.
That's funny.
Yep.
Nice.
That you also have the assumption that I would be just like Fred the Vampire Accountant if I discovered that the paranormal world is real. I'll say you're mostly right on that one as well, that I would live still a quiet life and a pretty mundane life, but I would not keep my job. I would definitely find a different way of living. I would not keep clocking in.
Yeah.
No.
I
don't find as much joy in my job as Fred finds in his. All right. Let's see, Esme, if I could live anywhere in the world, where would that be? Well, in the United States, I'll start there. I would still live in Colorado, although might move to like Boulder or Breckenridge or a more mountainy area than where we're at. What about you? Same?
If I could live anywhere in the world?
I was going to get to the world later, but yeah.
Oh, I was going to say anywhere in the U.S. Probably Colorado would be top, but I don't know. I might look to like New Zealand or...
Yeah, New Zealand, Norway.
Any of those happy countries.
Yes. Definitely want to move to a country that's more supportive of, or puts more emphasis on taking care of families and the people. So yeah, any of those countries that score really high on the happiness index and have mountains. They have to have mountains.
We like mountains.
Let's see. What is the favorite hike I've ever done? So I was thinking about this one, and there's Mount Bearstadt, where Nicole and I actually, we didn't meet, but that was when we first started talking. We had met on a hike like a week before that. But she actually thought I was dating someone else on that hike, so she didn't talk to me at all.
Yeah, we didn't talk. I thought, oh, dang, all the good ones are taken.
So Bearstadt's special for that reason. Mount Tory was the first time I've ever actually hiked a 14er. And 14er is any mountain whose summit or whose peak is above 14,000 feet above sea level. So that's a special hike to me. Gulf Gulch is probably one of the.
We've never completed that hike.
We haven't.
We've gone on it for like 3 hours. It's really pretty, but we just never finish it. I don't know what usually is like a time constraint or something.
Yeah.
So.
Or I hurt my ankle.
Yeah, something silly.
So that one's probably one of the prettiest hikes I did. Mount Parnassus, which I think I did a couple weeks before we met. It was in April 2020, so shortly after the shutdown. There was about 4 feet of snow on the ground, and we were just walking over it. And at one point, because it was all snow, we ended up way off trail and then realized, oh, the trail's 200 yards that way. So we're cutting across to get back to the trail, and I'm leading the way, and then all of a sudden just dropped 4 feet. The snow was about up to here on me. I literally had to like swim out of it. And then that hike was also the first time, only time, I tried what we were calling penguining, where you start running down the mountain and then you just jump, land on your stomach, and see how far you can slide. So that was fun. Let's see. Norway, all right. It's probably on our bucket list to go there at some point.
Yeah. For sure.
And who knows? My job, I work for Oracle, who is a global company, and they've had times where they've needed to station people overseas for the duration of like a 3-year project. So that we might volunteer for that at some point. And we met on a hike. So yes and no. We both moved to Colorado in 2019 separately. She was from Arkansas. I was from Illinois. So we didn't know each other. And I was on Bumble, met a girl, Heather, went on a date with her. We decided just to be friends.
Bumble's like a dating app.
Yeah. And then Heather and Nicole were both also on Bumble BFF, where it's like a dating app, but you're there to meet friends. And they started talking, and Heather tells me she found the perfect girl for me.
We had never met. Like Heather and I had never met. It was just texting on Bumble.
And then after like a month or two, I finally go up to Heather. I'm like, so am I ever going to meet this girl you say is perfect for me? And she's like, yeah, we can meet whenever you want. Let's set something up. So I suggested, I'm like, why don't you invite her out to hike St. Mary's Falls with us? So Heather sends Nicole a text saying, hey, do you want to hike St. Mary's Falls on Memorial Day weekend? It's going to be me, my brother, and a couple of my friends. So Nicole naturally is thinking it's going to be a couple of Heather's girlfriends. It was not. It was me and Heather's boyfriend. And Heather is probably about like 5'9". I'm 5'11", and I was the shortest guy there. Mm-hmm. And Nicole is about 5'2". So she walks up to a bunch of giants that she has never met.
Yeah, I never met Heather at that point still. I actually was like, I'm not talking to you anymore because it's been like 2 months of us like chatting. And every time I try to do something with you, you cancel because I didn't realize she was trying to set me up on a date. I mean, so I was like, oh, and then like the next day she messaged me and was like, do you want to go hike? And I was like, okay, I'll give it one more shot.
So we go on this hike, and Nicole ends up asking how we all know each other. So Heather's brother naturally says, well, I met Heather when my parents brought her home from the hospital. And then Heather just went completely quiet. she gets really nervous around new people, so she didn't say anything. And her boyfriend at the time had just started dating, and I didn't know if he knew that Heather and I met by going out on a date. So I'm like, I'm just going to let Heather answer this. But then no one says anything. So Nicole assumes I'm dating Heather and spends the whole time talking to Heather's boyfriend instead, because she was
Yeah,
trying to be respectful and
Yeah,
not talk to
I was
me.
talking to her boyfriend. So
So then we did the next hike, Mount Bearstadt, and for whatever reason, Heather was driving, her boyfriend was sitting in front, I was sitting in back, and when Nicole went to get in the car, that's when she realized she had the couples mixed up.
yeah, I was like, I don't think that he would be sitting in the back if he was dating Heather. So I mean, I didn't. Yeah, they're really fighting. So, it's funny.
So our first hike, we didn't really talk at all. Bearstadt is when we spent probably about 6 hours, 7 hours hiking, not to mention 2-hour drive there, 2-hour drive back.
Mhm.
That was where we spent a lot of time actually talking and getting to know each other.
Yeah.
Iceland is another country I want to visit. I actually did a report on Iceland at one point. Don't remember anything about it, but it was the country I was most interested in.
Oh yeah.
So I did the report,
That sounds fun.
and someone actually commented because they saw me writing up the report 5 minutes before I had to go in front of the class and give my report. After class, she came up to me. She's like, "Were you literally writing that right like today?" Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. Penguin. It was not as good as it sounded. The snow wasn't hard enough, so which kind of seems like a good thing because if you jump and you do a belly flop, if the snow's really hard, that's going to hurt. But if it's soft, you don't go very far. We went maybe like 5 feet. I do have a video of me dragging someone to help them along, and they got to go about 50 feet. Maybe I'll be able to share that on the Discord at some point. Let's see. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you stayed for the story as well. Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks for staying.
Hey, Jake, I did already answer your question about music, but just to recap, it was mostly country, but some other bands that I really like. So Eric Church, obviously country, Goo Goo Dolls, Matchbox 20, Rise Against, someone you've probably never heard of named Dan Fogelberg. And he's the reason I was fascinated with Colorado as a kid and always wanted to move here. Let's see. Yeah, that could cause troubles.
Yeah.
My sister's also afraid to fly, and when she came to visit Colorado, she found a way to take trains from Illinois all the way to Colorado, which I didn't know that was possible. All right. Let's see. Going back to some other questions. So Trinity has the assumption that I have a huge collection of nerdy paraphernalia. Well, I have a huge collection of fantasy books. Other than that, I don't have a collection of anything else. Let's see. Esme, she left, but she also had the assumption that I was a sporty kid when I was young. And that is absolutely true. Played soccer my whole life, pretty much year round, tennis, was up for a pickup game of anything. And she assumed I could cook pretty well. No, that is not true at all.
He can make
tacos,
eggs, noodles, steak on the grill, and tacos. So that's not bad. It's not like a zero. Like he can cook a few select meals, so which I'm not much better. So I'm a little bit better.
And I can also make myself a mean bowl of cereal in the morning.
Yeah, it's talent. Gotta pour that milk just right.
Let's see. Let's see. So Jane asked, do you see yourself continuing to put out videos on BookTube for the foreseeable future? And absolutely. I've been having a lot of fun doing this and kind of gotten more into a rhythm than what I was last year. So yeah, I don't see this stopping anytime soon. And then she also asked, does it still bring you the same amount of enjoyment as when you first started, or has it changed? And I definitely enjoy it a lot more than I used to. It very quickly became work for me when I started because I was a perfectionist. So I was re-recording over and over and over and over again. So I'd spend hours recording, and then I'd have hours of footage to go through to edit to try and make an 8-minute video. So it was an absolute pain. Now I don't try as hard, and I think that actually makes my videos better, but it also cuts my filming time down, and by cutting the filming time down, editing goes so much faster. Glad we're not the only ones.
Don't feel I can't cook either. Yes.
Nicole will say Instapots are amazing and really help out.
They're amazing for soups.
Yes.
They're amazing for quick soups because soups take like 2 or 3 hours. So, and soup is fairly easy to make. So if you ever, yeah, I swear by them. I wish I had one earlier. We got one last year.
Let's see. I was asked, who's the best author, KJ Parker, RJ Barker, or R. Scott Baker? And I haven't read any of them yet. So you guys can tell me who you think is the best and who I should start with. Let's see. Andrew assumes that I listen to audiobooks while hiking mountains. And that is mostly not true for a couple of reasons. One, I'm usually not hiking by myself, usually hiking with Nicole now. Mm-hmm. And she would not like it if I completely ignored her on the mountain.
I would be very mad.
And before I met
not
her,
an understatement.
And before we met, when I was hiking with just my dog, there's actually a pretty large population of rattlesnakes in Colorado, which is not something I knew. So I wanted to be able to hear in case either me or my dog was getting anywhere close to a snake. And it helps to be able to hear when a mountain biker is flying up behind you or coming directly at you right around the corner that you can't see. So for the most part, no, I do not audiobook while hiking. I do audiobook while just taking my dogs for walks, if it's just me walking them and I'm on the sidewalk or on a bike path or something like that.
We have had times as a couple where we'll be like, we want to go for a hike. We want to introvert together. We're both introverts. So I'll be like, I'm listening to music. You listen to your book. But we have to like do that beforehand. And we don't do that super often. It's just if we're both like wanting to be outside, but not alone, but not together. That's kind of what we do. So, yeah.
So Andrew also assumed that Drew Hayes is my favorite self-pub author, and that is correct. And he is quickly closing in on being my favorite author, self-pub or traditionally published. Let's see. Tony assumes I can't sleep without a weighted blanket. That's not true. I do have a weighted blanket, and I use it most nights, especially in winter. But I can sleep without it, and I usually have a couple cats sleeping on me, so I still have that extra weight. So I have one, just don't always use it. He also asked, what's my favorite genre and why? That would be fantasy. As far as why, thanks, buddy. It's the most entertaining. It's the most fun to read. It's kind of like having a movie running through your own head. So you definitely get the best special effects that way. Let's see. What is your favorite book series? It's going to be Stormlight Archive. Favorite fantasy creature. I'm going to go with the Octakongs and Dresden, just because they're completely unique and no other book is going to have a combination of octopus and gorilla mashed into one. What is your favorite book cover you own? That's Dragon Mage. Mainly because I love that this cover is the naked hardback. So that's going to be my favorite. I have a whole video on my top 10 though, so I'm not going to go through all of those. What is the video you're most proud of making?
Question.
I should have read this one first.
What's that?
That was Tony who asked that.
Oh.
I liked my Why You Should Read Fred the Vampire comment because I think that's one of the better videos I did as far as actually conveying the message that I had a purpose of trying to convince people to read it. And I think I did a good job. I also like the fantasy drafts because those are a ton of fun to make, and editing because I just have to find where we start and stop and I get to enjoy the rest of the show. And no one else has done anything like that on BookTube, at least not that I've seen. So it's just fun all around. Plus, just hanging out with everyone is awesome. That makes me so happy. I've even come close to convincing Nicole, I think, to potentially pick up Fred the Vampire account.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Still working on some other recommendations. So.
Let's see. All right. I think that whole page is done. They have a huge color. Andrew thinks that I like Brussels sprouts and asparagus. And that could not be more wrong.
I like asparagus. He does not.
No. I think grizzly bears are the best bear. I would go with either polar bear or koala bear. Those
Pandas.
would be my panda bear.
Pandas is my thought. But yeah, your favorite is.
I can pick my own favorite.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I'm answering these questions too.
He also assumes I do 50 squats a day. When I was going to the 9-round gym, that would have been true. But I don't go there anymore. I have a Peloton that I used to work out, plus just hiking and what's called the incline, which is about 2,000 feet of elevation gain in 0.88 miles. So it's insanely difficult to do, especially at higher elevation where you already have less oxygen. Let's see. Yep, that's actually where I got the idea from. I saw someone just doing a whole bunch of random draft videos, and it'd be things like the things that start with C draft. So someone would pick cash, and someone would pick cards, and I'm like, well, if they can do random drafts, I can do random drafts that are fantasy related. Let's see. 50 squats a day. You still listen to emo music? It's your secret favorite. Do I listen to emo music?
He listens to like sad country sometimes, but that's as far as he goes. Yeah.
Mostly what we listen to now is probably The Voice.
Yeah, we listen a lot to The Voice. So
that's like the one TV show we watch now.
Wait, was that? Did they say emo music or emo shows?
Emo music.
Oh, okay. That's what
he assumes my favorite tool and drink is the screwdriver. No. Favorite drink is Jack and Coke. Favorite tool would probably just be a hammer. Yeah.
A hammer?
Yeah.
I feel like your favorite tool is probably utility knife.
Utility knife is a good one. I used to use what was called an eater a lot when I was working for roofing companies. Eaters or tear-off bars are what you use to pull up all the nails and the shingles on a roof. But that's nowhere near my favorite. I would hate using those nails. That'd be horrible. And he wants to know what color that dress is. So I had to look this back up because I couldn't remember what the different colors were. And it was either blue or black or white and gold. And when I first pulled it up, it definitely looked blue and black to me. And then I was reading something on the side and noticed out of the corner of my eye, it looked white and gold. And I couldn't get it to go back to looking blue and black after that.
Did they have like an analysis of what that meant?
I didn't get that far because I noticed it changed colors before I could read more about it. But I think it really was
dynamic.
blue or black. Going back to Tony, he assumes that I am taller than Andrew. I don't know.
How tall is Andrew?
Yeah, I don't think Andrew's on. So someone should go ask Andrew how tall he is. I will say I'm probably shorter than Jake. And I'm going to guess I'm taller than Andrew. I'm 5'11". I'm going to guess he's between 5'8" and 5'10". And he assumed my favorite color is green. That's not correct. It's blue. And that I can't eat spicy food. That's also incorrect. I love spicy food. And that whole page is now done.
Yay! That's a lot of questions.
And there's still a whole nother page more. So these are all going to be from Andrew. He wants to know what my Hogwarts house is, and I would be Ravenclaw.
Oh, that's funny.
Why is that?
I didn't know that.
What do you think I would be?
I don't know. Everyone I've ever known has always been in a different one. So
Gryffindor?
yeah, Gryffindor.
Yeah.
I'm Gryffindor. In case
You're brave.
wondering.
You are braver than me.
Yeah.
I'll stick with clever.
That's funny. I did not know that.
Andrew assumes I sit in front of my gorgeous shelves, sipping cognac and laughing at us peasants because we don't have fancy shelves. So I do spend a lot of time sitting here staring at my shelves, and it's usually me rearranging books in my mind and trying to make them look as good as possible. But it's also a lot of time spent considering, believe it or not, getting rid of these shelves and replacing them. As beautiful as these shelves are, they're really inefficient. So like each shelf has about 3 or 4 inches between the books and the shelf above it. So if that was narrowed, you could fit a whole nother shelf up there. And then the top parts with the arches, those block you from being able to see and get to a lot of books. And then the bottom is drawers that don't really open all that well. So the drawers are useless, and those could be more shelves.
And these are very heavy.
Yes.
This is upstairs, so they're not going back downstairs until we move. So
not just that, there is no place in the house that these shelves fit.
Mm-hmm.
That we have taller ceilings up here.
Yeah.
So if they were a ½ inch bigger, we wouldn't have been able to get them in here at all. But this is the only room that we have this much open wall space without a window where the sun wouldn't be shining directly on them the whole time. And like, I would like to actually move my office down to the basement so we freed up this room as another bedroom. But we can't do that because they wouldn't fit in the basement. So this is forever my office because the shelves can't be moved. So I spent a lot of time staring at them, but not laughing at anyone for not having the same shelves.
Let's see.
They are beautiful. It's going to be something, if we move, it's going to be something we consider where the bookshelves would be able to go.
I'm like actually with you a lot on this, Alex. I agree. I think we should keep them. He's very practical and he hates on them a lot, but I actually think they're so pretty and they're really good for his booktube. So actually, like really encouraged him to go and get them at the time. So I like them. I don't want to get rid of them. I think they're an absolute pain to move, and it sucks that he's stuck in here. And we have some friends who helped us move him up the stairs, and they were like, "Never call us again." So
We don't get to hang out with them much anymore.
no, I
I wonder
wonder
if it's
why. We have to all these up a flight of stairs. Yeah, a big flight.
It was
of
worth
stairs.
it. But yeah, these shelves. So if you remember my old setup, I had 3 or 4 different shelves plus some floating shelves, and I had more books.
Mhm.
So I was looking for just like a cheap $10 shelf or a free shelf that people were just giving away on Facebook. And then when I went on Facebook Marketplace, I saw these listed for $400. And I told her about them. She's like, "You gotta go get them."
Yeah, I was so supportive of it. I don't think he would have actually, or if he would have, it would have been. I was like, no, we're gonna go get those. Those are how much did you say they were?
400. And then
Yeah.
when they found out that we had to rent a moving truck to move them, which
Yeah.
I don't know who would have been able to move these without a moving truck.
Yeah,
Because I had a pickup truck and they weren't going to fit in that. That when they found that out, they knocked another $50 off. So I think we
Mhm.
paid $350 plus the cost of a moving truck
yeah.
and maybe some friendships to get these upstairs. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Let's see. What other ridiculous questions did Andrew have? You keep a picture of your bookshelves in your wallet and blow kisses at them in public because you miss them.
I think we already answered this.
So I do actually have pictures of the shelves. Reason being, Colorado, specifically where we live at, wildfires are fairly common. We all actually just had a fire last summer
Yeah.
where we were across the street from the evacuation zone.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep a picture of all of the books I own just for insurance reasons.
Yeah.
Because that would be quite costly to replace all of this. And I absolutely agree. I couldn't believe that we were able to get these for $350.
Yep.
Let's see. Andrew thinks I brag to my friends that I can knock out an adult moose with a hardcover book.
Is he on here? Like, I feel like
I wish he was on here, but I don't think
appreciating
he is.
Okay.
Let's see. So no, I don't think I could knock out a moose with a book. But if there was a book that could do it, it would be this. This is about 3 inches thick, Superpowered Year 4. I've said this a couple times. Oathbringer, which is known as one of the longest books ever written, is 1,200 pages long. This is 1,900 pages long. There was no way to get this printed in a paperback. And I think he said if it was another like 16 pages, they wouldn't have been able to print it in a hardcover either.
Plus, I think moose are like one of the top 5 most dangerous animals, as in like they kill a lot of people. So, yeah. So no.
And not thankfully, I've never seen one in Colorado. Have you?
I've seen like 2.
You have?
Yeah, in Estes Park. I don't remember if you were
Right.
with me.
I
were.
wasn't because I didn't see that.
You weren't with me.
Yeah,
It was before we met.
We had our wedding in Estes Park, and a bunch of our guests have now seen at least one moose. I think someone said they saw a bear while they were there for our wedding. And yet I've still never seen a bear or a moose in the wild. But that's probably generally a good thing.
I've seen both of those, but I haven't seen them with you. So, yeah. But maybe
I
that's
guess
a
they
good
just
thing.
avoid me.
Do you remember that giant deer you saw on the incline? Though?
Yes. Yeah. So the incline, I would recommend just Googling the incline, but it used to be almost like a railway up 2,000 feet up a mountain. And they closed that down at some point, but the what are they called?
Locals?
No, the wood beams.
Oh.
Like the tracks were still there.
Mhm.
So people start using those as steps and hiking up it.
Yeah.
And eventually it got converted to a trail. And it's an insane trail that Olympians will use to prepare. I think Apollo Ono was famous for using it. I think his best time was 18 minutes up it. But anyways, I hiked this and it was right before the sunset. And I get to the very top and I'm about to go down Bar Trail and I realize the sun's going down really quickly. It's getting dark. And I don't feel like walking through a wooded trail in the dark without a light or anything like that. Or I think I had a small light. Or maybe it was probably just my phone light. And where we're at in Colorado, the sun sets very quickly because it sets behind the mountain. So you're immediately in the shadow of the mountain. And I start going down, and it's at the point where I can only see about 15 feet in front of me. So I have my flashlight on, and I see a couple lights coming up at me. And I think it's people with headlamps coming up and just doing it at night. And then I get to about 15 feet away from it, and I realize the lights I saw weren't headlights. They were the eyes of a huge buck that was coming up the incline towards me. So that terrified me for a while. So I sat there. It stopped. So I stopped, and I had the decision of, do I just try walking past it and see if it just runs away from me or lets me go? Or do I hike back up? And at this point, I probably descended about 1,000 steps. So I'm close to halfway down at this point. Do I hike back up to take the trail to go around it? I think what I ended up doing was blasting an audiobook as loud as I could to create some noise, and it moved off the path then.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my one experience with wildlife in Colorado.
He came back very shook.
Yes. Let's see. You think Lord of Chaos is the best Wheel of Time book cover? I don't have the Wheel of Time book covers memorized, and I have the mass market paperbacks, and I can only see the spines from here, but none of them are all that exciting. I'm assuming he's talking about the original covers, and the only one I remember is Eye of the World. So I'd say that's my favorite. And based on his other comments, I'm assuming Lord of Chaos has the worst book cover. And he has another one. You mark all books with a sticker that says from the library of the stud. No, but I do have a stamp.
Yours truly got this for him.
That
Oh, do you have a book that you could show? They're not gonna be able to see that.
I don't think I have it on a book yet.
Oh.
Well, now some of my books just fell. So she got me a stamp that I can put on all the books, and if I gift anyone a book that comes to me first instead of just directly delivering it to them, I would put this on there, and it says from the library of Patrick Ryan, and it has mountains in the middle. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, I do have something, although it does not say from the library of the stud. That's kind of what I was guessing based on all of his other ridiculous questions.
I might have to get you a stamp that says that.
From the library of the stud.
We'll send him a book.
Okay. Now, amazingly, I did not have any of those questions in the ridiculous questions section, which is what I'm now up to.
Oh, okay.
So these are going to be from Jordan and Andrew, who neither of them are here yet, so they're missing out.
True friends.
Yes, I think Jordan's working. So
Oh.
Andrew, I don't know
no,
what
I
his
meant
excuse
writing
is.
the.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes,
not that they're
true.
not here. That's not what I meant.
So I'll alternate between the two. Andrew wants to know, is cereal a soup? And I would say no, because you don't put milk in a soup.
Yeah, I say no.
Jordan wants to know if I shower naked. I don't
Do
know
you
any
not?
other way. So
Do you not answer that?
Back to Andrew. Is a hot dog a sandwich? I say no.
Say yes. It's like a I don't know, just a trashy sandwich.
A trashy
It's a
sandwich.
trashy sandwich. It's like the bottom of the barrel sandwich.
Okay. It is a staple to the Chicagoan,
Oh,
Meal.
that's why the question's that.
maybe.
Well, I have to go with what a Chicagoan says actually, because y'all are the experts on
That's
hot
right.
dogs.
Just don't put ketchup on it.
Dog sandwich. Ew.
Jordan, do you think the German Bears just only wipe their butts 24/7?
What?
The Sherman Bears
Oh,
just only wipe their butts 24/7. I would say no, because you don't want to wipe while you're going.
yeah.
That would be horrible for them.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But all other times, probably.
What type of question is that?
Completely ridiculous. All right, back to Andrew. Was your favorite Sarah J. Maas book? I have never read a Sarah J. Maas book, and I have no plans of ever reading a Sarah J. Maas book. I don't think you've read one either.
I doubt it. Yeah.
Jordan, what alarm is your favorite? Scratches on a chalkboard or the blood-curdling scream of a frog who stubbed its toe? I have to go with the frog who stubbed his
Yeah, frogs
toe.
are like frogs a nice sound. Like if you live in the country, like you can hear the frogs.
Have you heard them stub their toe?
I just feel like they don't do that because they're swimming. So they probably stub their nose.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, either way, I haven't heard that, so I'm going to go with that sound instead.
Yeah.
Team Edward or Team Jacob? I'm going to ask you.
Team Jacob.
Team Jacob?
Unpopular opinion. Edward is super controlling and doesn't see Bella as powerful or capable as a person. So, yeah.
Yes, Jordan and Andrew absolutely are asking the
But now
questions.
you answer this. I'm gonna make you watch these.
Thanks, Andrew.
Wait, you gotta answer. I answered my question
Well,
because you asked me.
I agree with you.
You agree with me?
Yes,
Okay.
you had very sound logic.
He has not read that book.
Nope.
I've read that book and watched the movies.
Another hot dog question. Are hot dogs tacos or tacos hot dogs? No, they're not the same.
Are hot dogs? What's with the hot dogs?
They're just mystery, specifically the meat that's used in them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a hot dog is a taco or a taco is a hot dog.
Yeah.
And thankfully, he's not here to ask me why. Sausage patty or sausage link? Ooh, you can't go wrong. I'd probably go with sausage patty.
I think I would go. I'm supposed to be answering these. Not that I'm supposed to be answering these, but I would go with sausage patty because I make them, like I fry them and make them up for my husband with eggs. And it's just a lot easier to do with the sausage patty. So it's kind of related.
We're slowly getting closer to being able to make ourselves skillets in the morning.
Yeah.
And by us, I mean she's getting close to being able to make me skillets in the morning.
That's very true.
Let's see. Do you wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy? No, never.
I don't know what that
I think
means.
it's a Miley Cyrus song.
Oh.
Are you a lean beef patty? That's it? Am I a lean beef patty?
Oh, because of Patrick. Patty.
Probably.
Yeah.
Not right now. I'm pretty out of shape right now.
That's a mean question. That is just like a very mean question.
Back to Jordan. During your emo phase, because we all had one, did you order an unhappy meal at McDonald's? No, I've never tried ordering an unhappy meal.
What's an unhappy meal?
They don't exist.
Oh. Yeah, I just couldn't see him going up to the drive-through and being like, "Hey, I'd like an unhappy meal." Like, no, he just would never do that. So, I would if I had coffee.
So Andrew says his favorite trope is danger makes me horny. And he wants to know if that's my favorite trope as well. I didn't know that was an actual trope. I guess Dresden, you could say so. But that's more of a problem with Dresden than a selling point on Dresden.
Yeah.
Uh,
For the fairy.
everyone.
Oh, I haven't read it, so
Yeah.
okay.
You swim with your socks on. No, I also don't swim. I don't float all that well.
He does wear his socks like most of the time, though. I don't know why that's relevant, but like he wears socks around the house. A lot,
But not in water.
but not in water.
Um,
No, would you come back?
Jordan wants to know, would I try eating his boiled jellyfish?
I would, but
I
he
would
probably
not.
wouldn't. No.
I do not eat seafood at all.
Yeah.
Anything remotely related to seafood, I will not do it.
Yeah. He does not like seafood.
Back to Andrew. You idolize the Coke Bears because they never pay for their drinks. Well, that would be a nice perk. To
Yeah.
have unlimited drinks that people just give you and you never have to pay for.
Yeah.
But no, I don't really
Envy
go out and
them.
drink.
I also feel like if you have to pay for them, it kind of like makes you drink less because you're paying for them.
And
So-
Coke isn't the best thing to be drinking.
Yeah, so I don't think so. No.
All right, so this is a fun one. So Jordan wants to know if all of the mods, I'm assuming the Wizardly Duo Discord mods, had a Caterpillar Royale, who would win? And what he means by that is everyone gets in sleeping bags and wrestles like caterpillars. Well, I think Jake and Stacy would go off and do their own thing, so they'd be out. I don't know if Andrew would be able to be restrained by a sleeping bag. I think he would break out of it.
Yeah,
So I
can
don't-
see that.
I don't know if that would disqualify him or if that would make him the winner because he got out of his cocoon.
I think it makes him the winner. He is a butterfly.
There you go, Andrew. You get to be a
He
butterfly.
metamorphosist, however you say that.
And then the last question I had is from Alex, who wanted to know, are you still friends with Jordan and Andrew after all their ridiculous questions and assumptions? Yeah, I am. I've provided my fair share of ridiculous questions and assumptions for others.
Payback.
So- It is. So yeah, that is all the pre-recorded questions. Does anyone have anything else they want to ask? Say hi to Zephyr. See our other cats. Yeah, Charlotte's just hiding over there.
Except for like getting out of the camera screen. He hates this.
That's absolutely true. Hey, buddy. Do you want to get Charlotte?
Where's she at? Oh, there she is.
So yes, more cats. All right. So we're gonna bring Charlotte over here.
I'm sorry to wake you up again. I know, but you wake us up sometimes, so.
She's guest starred in one of my other videos.
Charlotte.
So yes, she is a munchkin kitten, and that her legs are only about this long.
Look at that little tiny leg. It's so cute.
And she was our accidental
Hey.
kitten.
Can you look at the camera? She's like, I hate you. Put me down.
She's my buddy in the morning. I wake up well before everyone else. And she comes out to hang out with me. But I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago, yeah, during 2020, one of, hey buddy, one of Nicole's friends adopted this kitten, Charlotte, and she was tiny. She was about the size of my hand, maybe smaller, and pure white. And he posted a picture of her on Instagram, and Nicole asked if she could come over and meet the kitten.
He lived in Denver, which is about an hour away. I really like cats. Obviously, I have 3, but
And Reagan's response was, "Sure, I'll actually bring her to you. We'll come visit you and you can see her." And Nicole's like, "Great, don't have to drive an hour, even better." So he brings Charlotte over and then asks, "Do you mind watching her for a couple months?"
5 months, he meant like a year. And then she grew up, and she and Zephyr are best friends. This is Skyke.
She's the mama cat, even though
Yeah.
she's not the oldest.
She's definitely, yeah, she's something. Come say hi too. She looks so unhappy.
She's like, "I was sleeping as well."
Zephyr's the only one who likes to be cuddled extensively.
But yeah, Reagan, I guess he was having roommate issues, planning on moving out, got the
Yeah.
cat, like drove 1,000 miles to pick up the cat because he wanted a munchkin cat. And then the roommate he was having problems with moved out.
Mm-hmm.
So he was staying where he was at, but they didn't allow cats anymore.
Yeah,
So the cat stayed with Nicole for
forever.
like 8 months, 10 months before we got married. And then the cat became a wedding gift because there's no
Yeah.
way we were going to let him take the cat back at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it was like he was working like 80 hours a week or something crazy, and she was really social and young, and so I was kind of like, you need to get another kitten to go with her, which he did.
And
But
it
it
was the
wasn't-
most unsocial cat you'll
Yeah.
ever meet.
He was a very traumatized cat. Like, I think he was abused, and he did not come out of the couch, like inside the couch
Right.
for like 5 months of him owning this cat. And I was like, that's just not going to work for Charlotte. And Charlotte hated him too, which, you know, if he came out and said hi to her, they might become like friends, but he would just stay in the couch. So, because I did bring him over because kind
To
of
try and
complicated.
integrate.
Yeah, because like Reagan, it's really complicated.
Yeah.
Never mind. But yeah, anyway, she ended up being ours because he found out he was allergic to cats after owning the second cat, which eventually went to his mom. So it all worked out. Yeah. And I got my Charlotte.
Yep.
So our accidental failed foster.
Yes.
So
Adopted foster. And then we also have 2 dogs. So Elsa and River.
Mhm.
But you can't see them because they're not allowed upstairs by the cats.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I got married, it was just me and Elsa living here, which Elsa was the name she had when I adopted her. I had no idea what Elsa was from. I had never seen Frozen. And I adopted her. And then like the next day at work, I was telling people I adopted a dog, and they asked what her name was. And I said Elsa, and they would start singing Let It Go. And I thought they were all really weird. But eventually I had to look it up and figure out, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because I think when I adopted her, she did have like a Winnie the Pooh bandana as well. And I just kept the name because she already knew it and I didn't want to retrain her. River was supposed to be a cat.
oh yeah, this was years ago. This was like 2016, 2017. We went down to, or I went to go look for another cat, just because for no reason. And I like to go to the shelters, and I was with a friend and she went to go look at the dogs. So I was like, oh, why not? So we went and looked at the dogs. Oh yeah, you should definitely get a cat or a dog. Cats are easier, like if you want to travel and stuff, but dogs are a lot of work. Like you have to find a sitter and
Actually let them
yeah.
out.
Because like we do travel sometimes, not like all the time, but you know, a couple times a year. And Zephyr, well, not Zephyr, he's just sitting right there. The cats have like automatic feeders, which actually aren't that expensive, and they have an automatic cat box. So I just have someone check on them, like, I don't know, once or twice a week. Anyway, cats are easier if you want a more flexible like lifestyle. Whereas our dogs, they're probably our biggest expense of one of our biggest expenses of traveling, of having a dog sitter. So anyway, just some thoughts from like our perspective if you like to travel or do things. But yeah.
But yeah, I had this big house to myself. It was just me
Oh,
and
yeah.
Elsa. Then I got married, and the next day, or when we got back from the honeymoon, it was no longer just me and Elsa. It was me, Nicole, Zephyr, Skyke, Charlotte, Elsa, River, Trident, the fish we had, and her sister Natalie was staying with us until
Yeah.
she found her own place.
Yeah, I brought a lot with me.
So my big house was no longer all that big.
Yeah. Preferred cat, but my husband is afraid of them. He's cool with dogs though. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I think a lot of people have had like bad experiences with cats before. Like I know a lot of people who are either afraid of cats or don't necessarily like them. And I'm firmly of the opinion that like a good cat will win anyone over, but a bad cat kind of gives cats like a bad rap. So I totally see that. But yeah, dogs are cute. Do you have you ever heard of like Pomskis, like the little husky like Pomeranian mix? I just think they're really cute. So anyway, I don't know if you're listening to this still.
Yeah, no, those are really cool.
Yeah.
They look like huskies, but they're only like this big.
Yeah, and they have like the poofy tail. We don't have a Pomsky, but I just think they're really cute and like the happy medium between like a big dog and like a smaller dog. So but yeah.
Still just as much to take care of.
Yeah.
She has seen them.
Oh, nice. They are cute.
But yeah, cats, you can definitely get really antisocial cats or mean cats. All of ours are really friendly.
Yeah.
And Zephyr's kind of like a dog. He likes playing fetch and he wants to.
Zephyr is what we would say he's neurodivergent. What a big dog do you want? I totally get the struggle. So good luck to you on that. Big dogs, I actually like big dogs better too, because I feel like they're friendly.
They're
Like
friendlier.
I don't like the little yappy dogs that like bark and I don't know, but like I do feel like there's a happy medium out there for you guys. So that's exciting. Yeah. I love hearing about people getting pets of any sort.
She's going to be asking me like once a week now whether Alex has gotten a pet.
Yeah. So please let him know if you guys decide. No pressure, but maybe a little pressure.
I will say if you get a dog, puppies are very difficult.
Yeah.
As are kittens.
Everyone's different, but like I am definitely an adult animal person, and I think Charlotte was an easy kitten, like, but Zephyr and Skyke Zephyr was a monster as a kitten. Thank you. So, but yeah. So it depends. I guess there's some good things about getting a puppy, like they're really cute. So, but we know for ourselves that we're, a year up dogs.
Yeah,
So.
puppies, they're like destructive toddlers that don't wear diapers.
Yeah. So we haven't actually owned a puppy, but now that I'm thinking, actually we have. When I was a kid, we owned a puppy and he was very destructive. But yeah, both our dogs. I think my dog was a year and his dog was like 2 years when they got him. So yeah.
Which my dog, when I adopted her,
Yeah.
I think she adopted me.
Yeah.
I went to an adopt-a-thon and I'm actually walking to go see the other dog. And I hear the people that were by Elsa saying, she just needs a single guy that can take her for long walks. And here he is. And I think I just scared him away because he's going to the other dog now. So then I had to go by them. And I took her for a walk and she stayed by my side the whole time. As soon as I stopped, she laid down. And then I went and walked the other dog, and the other dog was a monster. It was pulling all over the place and complete chaos.
Yeah.
And then I went back by Elsa, and she was laying down. And when I went back, she stood up and immediately walked over and laid down by my feet. And they told me that someone else tried to take her for a walk while I was walking the other dog, and she wouldn't get up for them. So that was how I ended up with Elsa, is that she picked me. And she was the really calm dog. And that was an absolute lie. It didn't occur to me that she had been outside in 90-degree weather all day and was just overheated and exhausted.
Mhm.
So 2 days later, when she recovered from that, I realized she has quite a bit of energy. And it was a good thing I had enough free time back then to take her on 5-mile walks.
Yeah. She was a very energetic dog.
Yes.
Yeah. Is.
She's still a very energetic dog. She still behaves more like a puppy, even though she's 9 years old and has arthritis in her knees or elbows, shoulders, whatever you want to call them. Yes, thanks. So yeah, she's a very friendly dog, but she doesn't know how to be contained.
Mhm.
And her tail is like a whip. So if anyone ever broke into our house, she would just lick their face and possibly take their knees out with how strong her tail is.
It's a whip.
But she would scare them beforehand because she'll jump up against the door when she hears someone. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, River is a very submissive dog. She comes up to you and then she lays down on her belly and wants pets.
Mm-hmm. River's a good, calm family dog. So, not that she's a good family dog. She keeps us safe, but she is like
A ball
all
of
the
energy.
time. Yeah, and has like really high anxiety. So she's just a lot. I love her, but she's a lot. She's a diva.
She's a princess.
She's a princess. She's Patrick's first princess.
Before you became a passenger princess. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah. Good one. Good first live.
Yes, I'm glad this didn't completely fail. I was afraid I wasn't actually going to go live because I've never done this before and
Mm-hmm.
was figuring it all out on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to wrap up.
Okay.
All
Here's
right.
to 500. Here's to 1,000.
Yes, hopefully. And by the end of the year, that's my goal, is 1,000 by the end of the year. So currently on track. Yeah. Thanks for coming out and thanks for supporting. I am still in shock that I'm at 500. Hopefully, I hope so. I've tried getting her to do some of the videos with me, like the first sentence challenge or the book cover challenge, but she hasn't wanted to. But maybe now.
Maybe someday.
Maybe now. I'm going to stick with maybe now.
Maybe now. Okay.
You've been convinced. All right.
Bye.
Bye.